everybody. It's great to see you here today. And I want to say the last time I spoke here was I was the last speaker in 2019, which was a terrific conference. However, shortly into my talk, I said, "And this has been a great year because we haven't had a fire." 10 minutes later, someone flashed up to me that there was actually a fire raging in Sonoma that day, that they had just seen it on CNN. So if you see any news like this, wait till after I speak. Please. Okay. But yet we have not had fires this year, which we are any serious fires, which we're very grateful for. I'm going to try to really stay on topic here with our public relations and community outreach, because I think it can be a benefit to many, if not most, observatories. It was really a saving grace for us during COVID and post-fire. It's allowed us to keep up our communications with our stakeholder base and with our resident base. And that has proven really, really important to strengthen our observatory, which we see now being able in a position to really surge ahead in the next couple of years as we put these things behind us. And our community is more and more aware of the things that we're doing. So let me start with, let's see. This one. Our planet, our future, the importance of public relations and community outreach. I live in an area that really does see that our planet is our future, so that is a good thing. Awareness in Sonoma is quite high of all the challenges we face, but so is energy to improve the climatic outlook and social outlook. Some of our main outreach opportunities are, well, we put out our annual report directly on our observatory website. Everyone can read it. We do some surveys, and I want to say that the surveys are very important to us. And I want to really reach out and thank Guanajuato for educating me to this. And right in my very first time here in INSTO, we talked in depth about the surveys they were doing, and I immediately saw them as really a win-win for us. So we instantly started to implement that, and they have proven to be really important to us as time has gone on. I'm going to get into those a little more deeply. We've charted our surveys in depth. If you look at the upper left corner, if you can see it, is there a way we increase this? We try to stick with under 10 questions. We find that our people just aren't willing to do much more than that. So we try to go for the ones that are most important to us. What are some of the things that really affected people during COVID, and what would they like to see continue? Well, the big three were increased carefulness in public outreach and in the way events were taking place. People want to see better sanitation. They want to see that continue. That one kind of surprised me. That was really an overwhelming favorite. The real top favorite, though, was more outdoor dining and more outdoor activities, including social activities. So I think that is those two will probably stick with us in Sonoma, those two changes from COVID. A third was really highlighted the need in Sonoma for more public transportation, but it has to be thought out because so much of our tourism is rural in that it is visiting vineyards all over our enormous, really quite large county. So how do we do that? We're very open to ideas from others on how you're doing it. So if anyone has great ideas, we'd love to hear about that more and how you're implementing it. Another project we undertook was this book, which is Healthy Vines, Pure Wines. The idea sort of started in the early days of the observatory. But then when COVID hit, we were deep into it, but we realized there was further we could take it. It is a textbook, but it's also a book for the C-suite crowd, which would be people who are looking to go into the business or advising the business or in some way tangentially involved in the wine business and want a quick course on what really are these natural and biodynamic wines about, and why are the vineyards and the practices there so important. During COVID, this really rang a bell because tourism changed dramatically. Many wineries, however, because of their clubs, their wine clubs, did pretty well by communicating with their members, again, outreach, and involving the members, including in Zoom wine tastings, which became quite the thing, and were interesting. I think that for us, really, the wine book allowed us to bring together people in the community and also to meet more and more leaders in the community, which is kind of unusual because we're spread out, and a lot of the owners of many of the most important tourism establishments and tourism businesses are really more absentee owners. However, many decided that it would be much more conducive and amiable to wait out COVID in Sonoma. So we had a lot of people actually residing in Sonoma who normally are just there a few times a year. So we were lucky to be able to interview many, many people who have wonderful ideas about maintaining vineyards and increasing productivity and improving the agricultural outlook, not just in vineyards, but in other sectors. So that was a big boon to us. People ask, well, who are you reaching out to? One of the ways we've done this since the beginning of the observatory is through local groups and clubs. I'll just mention a few, like Slow Food, the Sister Cities Organization, Rotary International, Sonoma 1000. These may seem tangential, but in actuality, these groups have very active community members, by and large, all of them. And they form a web of people who can become interested in your observatory, interested in what you're doing, and promote it, and also come up with donors for you, hopefully. One of the ways that we reach out is we put out press releases every time we do something of interest or we have an article of interest appear, and we work pretty hard on getting those articles out there. And that has also been very, very good for our community outreach and made people more aware of the fact that Sonoma is doing so well in their environmental efforts. There's actually an observatory looking at them and reporting to the rest of the planet what's going on and things that are succeeding and also things that aren't succeeding. So that's been a real boost. People were pretty excited about that. So we do put those out. We work on our PR, and a lot of the work that we do at the observatory, like the ones in Portugal, is dependent upon interns from Sonoma State University and Sonoma Junior College. And some of them have proven to be just great at helping us with our various PR efforts. So that's a good one. And it's a good source to tag for that. You don't always just have to work with interns from very specific departments. Sometimes there are departments that can help you and send interns over in ways that you perhaps hadn't thought of before, such as working on your public relations, for example. Next. I've been in Europe now for 5 weeks. I came over to attend the 6th annual wine tourism conference that UNWTO put on with the Italian government in Alba. That was a very interesting conference, and it brought together wine tourism people who, pretty smart group. And I was on a panel that the topic was innovations in wine tourism. And I want to say that that panel questions were asked of us, and a lot of them had to do with changing demographics. And I think that the matter of changing demographics is an important one. And Dirk, you said you were open to our making suggestions for what we want to focus on in future. I would like to focus on that for the next presentation I make here at UNWTO, perhaps next year. Because demographics are changing rapidly and they are changing very dynamically due to COVID and amongst other things, but there's a generational change going on and COVID has pushed that ahead, maybe by several years. So that's a topic that was of big interest to the winemaking and wine selling crowd, because there's a very different buyer group of both wine and tourism who's coming up. So that's of interest to me. Every twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, we put out an e-newsletter, and those give us a chance to communicate with, I think we have 20,000 subscribers, and get feedback from them. So I really recommend having a newsletter. It's not really that hard to do. There are many templates available, and you can use many online and some of them even free methodologies to send them out. But it's a great communication tool, and people seem to enjoy them. Staying social is big with us. This year we brought on a social media director, and she's done a dynamite job. She's broadcast everything everywhere, and I really can't advise too strongly how much that's helped us to get the word out about the things we're interested in, and also to get word back in. People do respond on social media, and although I'm not perhaps the biggest social media person myself, the insights that we have been able to garner are really, really, really valuable. So I would, think that social media is a really, really good tool to communicate with your stakeholders and also with local residents. Those are our social media avenues up on the right. And we post about all the conferences we go to in real time as much as possible. And all of that keeps the momentum up and keeps people enthusiastic about what we're doing. And we like to share the knowledge. We have a new white paper. It's, I think, 15 pages. We put a lot of work in on it. Several interns have worked on it, as well as members of the core team. Through the Fire, wine tourism evolves. Climate change response, that's a big one. And, oh dear, let me go back to that one. That's the last slide, but that's okay. Our journey forward, I think, really takes us down this road of more and more focus on both the data and the demographic data in tourism. This visual that you see up here, this is a mural that was painted by a group of first generation new Americans young Americans living in a trailer park in Sonoma County during a few years ago. And it was made especially for the United Nations World Congress in Jeju in 2012. What I love about it is it shows what we asked the kids: what do you want to see? How do you want to see your planet when you get older? And this is what they thought of. And as you can see, they love nature, and they love the idea that they'll be able to see all these wonderful things. So that's a big motivator for me. And I hope that you'll stay in touch with us. I hope that if you would like to get a copy of our white paper, you let us know. I may actually just send it out to those who have attended. and other observatories, because I think it's a good one. And it touches on issues that we're all have experienced in the last few years and drills down on some of them. Thank you very much for having the opportunity to talk with you and being here.